Marooned on Triton.
Hello, Internet, and welcome back to more Marooned on Triton. So, last week we got everything moved in, finally, and built our drill to continue our tunnel deep enough that we can be truly safe. Unfortunately, the drill doesn't work. So, let's see if we can't figure that out today. Well, so I've got an idea. It may or may not work. Need more hinges. Okay. So. And we're gonna need steel. Which we don't have. We'll make a whole bunch. Okay. So. Let's slap those on there. Then. I want the orientations of these to be the same. And I gotta... make sure I have the parts for them. This is an efficient way to build things. But if we now... Right. Send that down like that. I should be able... Yes. Place one of those there. Remove that. Go ahead and produce me one tube as well, please. Okay. So, I've got those two. I should... Hopefully this is the right orientation. Be able to place that. Attach it. It is now attached. Okay. So, never mind the tenuous connection between these two pieces. I assure you the weld job is top notch. This should be a second hinge that hopefully can provide its own strength to move this thing. Or a second hinge set. So what I'm going to need to do... Maybe I can tell the difference here. Not really. Okay, let's name these so that I know what I'm doing. Okay. Hinge main... We'll just do 1 and 2. So this will be the main arm. And then... this will be the support arm. Okay. Is that a new... Don't know if that was a new ping or not. That may have been just the old one coming back up. Hopefully it was. Okay. So... support 1 needs to match main 1. So, negative 0.05 for its velocity. We'll set its torque up to max. That means this one will also get max torque. And then 0.05. So, I'll just give everything max torque because I don't see a problem with it. It doesn't seem to help or hinder the shaking. My hope with this mechanism is that these two will add their torque to each other and be able to lift something. I assume that's how things work, but I don't know. Okay. Drill's on. If I hit reverse, with luck, these will actually all move. Nope. Dang it. Okay, maybe if I Share inertia tensor? Nope. That's gonna be a bummer if this whole system doesn't work. I mean, what's the point of upping the torque if it doesn't up the torque? Maybe there is a... Let's try... How many zeros? It's 6 zeros, so let's try 32 million. Let's see if just at the edge of red, if that has any effect. No, it doesn't seem to. Turn off inertia tensor? Nope. Turn on inertia tensor. No. Huh. Well, that's a real pain. So I guess the hinges just don't have enough horsepower. I could try and add a third one in, but I have no idea if more hinges actually makes more better. I could maybe continue it out this side, but I don't think that would really matter much. Well, because I like this idea and don't want to have to think of another one, let's just try and we'll just keep adding keep adding hinges until it works or explodes. I think that's a wise idea. Oh, hold on. Oh, it is working. Look at that. They're the opposite numbers as each other. I don't know if the share inertia tensor matters, but we'll match it. It's moving. Oh, perfect. Okay. So it did it just needed the torque of one more hinge, or maybe it needed the balance of a hinge pushing on each side. I don't know, but that's a good sign. Okay. Well, let's turn the drills on. Oh, I guess... Well, this will be interesting. Because I didn't have the drills on before. If it doesn't work now, that means it's because the drills are running. Which wouldn't make much sense, but... Nope. It seems to be working. They're arcing up. Okay. Okay, I think it's doing. Let's go up and see if we can get a better angle. I haven't bit into the rock yet, but that should happen. Well, we now know for sure we have to be careful with watching the drills, because if they get overloaded, we don't have that much torque to spare to get them up and down. Okay, any second now it should start. Oh, there it goes.
Energy critical.
Just check the hinges. I guess I could have done this from up there. Are you still moving? Yes, it is. So it doesn't update when you're looking at it, but... Well, shoot, maybe they were working before and I just wasn't... No, I feel like... Because before I was bouncing and the two hinges were at separate values. And that's not happening, so it may not change actively while you're watching it. But they definitely are changing. Oh, I'm almost out of power again. Need to build my bed. Let's do that. While those are going, because I want to let them do a full arc before starting the timer. That way everything's kind of should be aligned for them to be able to sweep through without hitting stuff they missed previously. Since as soon as I start the timer, the thing pushes forward. So, oh, and interior plates. Thank you. Okay. Maybe we'll do it like that, so I kind of crawl into a little bed cubby. That way I don't risk, you know, my head dangling over a 6-foot drop. Then, don't really need that, but it'll make me feel good. I need some construction components. I could just get the parts for all of this, but I kind of want to place it out on the ground ahead of time. Yeah. So I'll be able to come up, get that, crawl in bed. Still have plenty of room to walk in here. Let's do a quick drill check just to make sure. No refinery. Okay. The refinery's chewing through stone quick enough. We should be good. Hopefully the piston iterations will be short enough that the drills won't be getting the maximum amount drilled in one pass. Which doesn't sound super efficient, but part of the issue with the whole sort of drilling system like this, if you start to accumulate stone in your refinery, eventually the drills fill up and all that. So if the drills are only just scraping the surface, not getting all the stone they could, they shouldn't fill up faster than the refinery can empty them. Is my theory, at least. So we'll see. Hopefully that holds true. Oh, a downside I just realized to this whole system. I'll have to rebuild all these hinges and the connectors when I add more pistons. Man, nuts. I may redesign this a bit then. Maybe with a merge block thing. Because once this pushes forward, we'll have more room. I probably don't need to push all that deep, because we've already got a pretty long run up. Maybe I only want to add one more. Well, we'll see what happens with this. I may only add one more piston. This piston may get us deep enough that I feel perfectly happy as is. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this stuff. Okay. Home sweet home. Ah, this is magical. This mighty beast. Hinges and drills rearing up. It should, again, there's not too much concern because I'll be putting in a floor in here. That this is kind of dippy. But, I don't know, maybe I can use that to run piping at some point later. Okay. How much? 1 day of power. The fog has set in. Maybe it's all the dust I'm kicking up from the stones. Well, things seem to be doing alright. What to do in the meantime? I guess I've been talking about a floor. I think it would be handy to be able to drive this thing on something flat. Maybe I start laying out the floor in here. At least in this part. So pardon my challenge, I don't think I want it that high. I probably, well, I can't get it much higher. Oh, I could put it in here. Gosh, can't see anything. I can put it in a hole. That'll get it fairly low. I want it to be fairly low to the ground, because I want as much height in here as possible. And I don't really need it to be on the same alignment as this, because this is all temporary. So let's turn on our lights. My concern is I don't want, like if I place it down here, it's going to be below the stone for most of the floor. I want it to be as high enough that it covers all the little peaks. But maybe only just. And I guess, like these for example, I could just get rid of. Maybe we'll start it. Oh, the downside is I want it to be in that orientation, because I do want it to be square to this tunnel, just lower. Here's an idea. So, this'll again be somewhat temporary. Run this over here, yeah. So, this'll hopefully help me kind of line this up so that it's square with that base, but not at the same height as it. It's like there. Now hold on a second. That's not what I told you to do. Yeah. Unlock into the base. Okay. A little further. Alright. Very funny joke, but I'm trying to do things here. There you go. Okay. So that should be pretty much on the same grid as that, but just kind of drop down half a block. And it's too low. Alright, well you know what? We'll get rid of that one. We'll kind of... Used to maybe... Darn. That soup function might be messing up or not available in the soup mode. Normally you can well, you can in your mind use your control and envision a middle mouse wheel and scroll those in and out to place them closer or further away, but doesn't seem to be working. Mysterious. Okay. Now that's just rude. Will it go? No, and it won't go back to where I had it. That's odd that it sort of will slap the two together like that. I'd put that block there just to sort of check the alignment. Okay. I'm not going to put a block anywhere. Let's just get rid of this. I'm going to assume that I've done it correctly. And again, if I haven't, not really all that big of a deal. Let's get a nap. Yeah, this is quite nice. Cozy and protected. And sort of slide myself in and out. And I guess while I'm in here, I'm actually good, but yeah, so the hinges are now done. I can't get to that the normal way, but we can use this. So once I hit trigger now, the hinges will reverse and the piston will move forward. So this will be the moment of truth just to make sure the piston doesn't move Let me make sure the piston's set to move first off. Yes, that has a positive velocity, so it wants to push out, but can't. So if I trigger now, everything should move. Let's see if it explodes. Nah, that looked pretty good. So it's out just a little bit. Hinges are hinging. So I can watch it happen live on this. That's handy. Now the question is, I doubt a minute's going to be enough. That felt like 5 minutes. It may have been half an hour. List menu. Dang it, I can't control it from there. That doesn't look quite right, but we'll just go with it. Yep, that was a minute, and that was nowhere near correct. Darn it. Okay. We'll do it remotely. Timer block. Stop your timer. Okay. Let's go ahead and reset everything. So bring you back 0.5. Hinges will bring back up. No, actually, they'd already reversed again. So, okay, we'll let these get up to 90. Let's bring the piston all the way back in. Because now that they're at the top, they should be ready. If I adjust the timer block now. Okay, so I can set it up to 1 hour. What is... 30 minutes, 45 seconds. That's probably good enough. So this is going to be a real slow process. But I want them to move slow so that they clear everything out nice and good. So that everything has enough time. And we can do other stuff while they're doing it. So, in fact, we've kind of stayed local. We could poke around a little bit and see what exploring we could do. That could be something. Either way. Go in here. We'll just go ahead and have a timer block trigger now and a timer block stop on the hotbar. So, trigger that. Fix that so that it actually moves. Okay. Now, it should have enough time to get fully through its arc. Hopefully it'll have enough time to do that. Wait a minute. Hopefully it's not got enough time that it's waiting like 20 minutes. And then it should arc back up and continue. So that should just keep happening until it's at the length of the piston. Which, well, we'll see how long we feel comfortable with. Where about are we right now? If I create a new GPS marker, I want to see how deep underground we are. Because that'll kind of decide. I want to be deep enough. Ideally, I'd like to be deep enough that we're actually under the mountain. Okay. Yeah, so we're about here. We're 25 meters down. So we're actually pretty deep already. I don't know if we'll get to the mountain. It is quite far away. That may not actually be the worst thing. We'll see how far we get with just one piston. This isn't good. I'm starting to think this may have been a problem. Oh, I know what the problem is. Okay. Emergency stop. Okay. Oh, the timer was only set up for the main hinges. The side hinges weren't actually doing anything. Whoops. Yeah, so if I look, hinge 1 is at 0.05. Yeah, the hinges were
Fuel critical.
counteracting each other. So the timer only reversed those two, so it was moving forward, forcing itself against these ones, which were still moving it the way it was initially moving. Oh, it's unhappy. I hope it can bring itself back on its own. It is very slowly, but I don't want to risk doing it faster, because that might anger it. Oh boy. Glad I came back in. Right. Well, let's go ahead and set the timer up. I guess I should go ahead and reverse the piston again. Okay. Timer block. Setup actions. Right. Main 1, 2. You also need to reverse these 4. And I could start making groups, but I've still got room, and I think I should be alright. Now, I don't know if it triggers these iteratively, if everything happens at once. But it should be, there shouldn't be enough time. It should all go okay. Yeah. Because I noticed this one pushed out a bit, and I thought that was weird, but I figured it was just, you know, strange torque, which it was. It was just strange torque I'd caused instead of the strange torque that you expect in a situation like this. Okay. Third time's a charm. Fire up the piston.
Fuel
Okay.
critical.
Now what is your velocity's 0.05. Your velocity's 0.05. This one's velocity should be negative. Okay. Why are the drills tilting? Because these aren't actually lifting up at the same... Oh boy. Who'd have thought this was so darn difficult? Okay. Right. So... Timer, stop. Piston, reverse. So the support hinges. If I stop their share inertia tensor, then maybe reverse them. Reverse this one. Oh god, I may have gotten everything mixed up. Okay, negative 0.5. Negative. Top ones are doing 0.5.
Fuel critical.
So maybe the share inertia tensor on them caused issue. Because in theory, all of these should be working each other now. I don't quite know, because if it had to do the same effort to get them up here, I don't know why it wouldn't be able to... I don't think there's any difference between the motion coming up versus going down in terms of how much torque would be applied where. We'll just assume that that was because of the shear inertia tensor, which I don't think we need. We could maybe put it on the piston, but that may break everything. We'll try and see. Okay. So if I reverse you now,
Fuel.
are they going out evenly? 87, 84, 85, 84. No. Why are the bottom ones... Are they actually tilting? Yeah, they're tilting off axis ever so slightly. Why is that the case? Heck, maybe it did that on the way up and I just didn't notice. What happens if I double their speed? So negative 0.1 would be ideal to do this at the same time, but
Fuel critical.
I'm curious if they always, once they're at the top, the drills were kind of arching down and then leveled themselves off. Or if they're just going to be off kilter. Because in theory, it shouldn't be too much of an issue once it reaches the top, so long as they can straighten themselves up once they're at the top. It should still clear the hole enough. I think I can definitely do this speed with the amount they push forward. That should be safe at the very least. Yeah, they definitely seem to be taking a different path because they're hitting new stuff. So it shouldn't... I wouldn't think it would be that the outer pistons don't have enough strength to move the thing this way. Well, yeah, because they were fighting that motion to keep it straight here. Though I guess none of this will probably make any sense, but I'll try and point at it with the HUD pointer. So, I guess as the things were moving up, these hinges, while they were having to hold it vertical, they weren't having to pull it up, per se. They were basically just releasing out with gravity to keep these level. So as they go up, the gravity is doing a lot of the pulling. And even once they get up to sort of that angle, they're sort of just metering out how quickly gravity can pull them down. Whereas coming down, technically they're now having to lift against gravity. Okay, so maybe there is a difference in the motion going up and down. So these end ones may not quite have the torque to keep it perfectly level. And again, so long as everything kind of comes level in the end, it may affect ever so slightly the shape of the tunnel, but I mean, the height of the tunnel isn't all that critical, and there's already a big old gash there. I don't know what happened with that. Maybe all the banging. Yeah, none of these are damaged. Either way, what it'll mean is it just drills a little bit more of the floor out, which isn't super bad. And if the upstroke is fairly level, yeah, it's like a degrees difference between the two. But that one's now at 90, and that one's coming up to 90. This is starting to hurt the old noggin. I think... This is my opinion as a professional space engineer. Yeah, that drill's still there. This is good enough. We'll set this to... oh god. We'll drag it to 25 minutes-ish. Maybe 20, and we'll see how we get on. Alright. Let's boogie. We'll just let it do its thing, and if it explodes, we'll deal with it. Or if it... I mean, it's gonna dig a tunnel. It may not be the tunnel we want, but it'll be the tunnel we get. Now. Floor. Right. This isn't even an exciting thing to come back to. It's just... look, we've put deck on the ground. Oh, and actually... let's do this a little bit more efficiently. Because this is going to be a large area we're covering, and we don't really care what's under it, we can use these half blocks. They cost, yeah, it's like 12 versus 25, so they're even cheaper than half to produce. And frankly, it won't matter too much for us. It will still be a flat surface that we can drive on. Yeah, that seems right. So 9 blocks wide gets us kind of to each side of the tunnel. We can add some kind of blocks at the edges if we want, though honestly... having the little gap there, I don't know. Maybe we'll weld up the base 9. I could even... heck, I could get rid of this line and have sort of... the raw stone doesn't really do much when it's so close to the ground. Kind of interesting in the idea of like a raised central walkway with gullies on each side. But while that may look cool, it's probably just a recipe for getting my tires stuck. So now here on the snow, I could maybe bring it out to cover these bumps, but may not really be able to. But it's pretty much level, so I won't need to worry too much about, you know, ramps or anything to get kind of up onto the driving surface. Just a smooth come on from the ground. I guess I've built all this in this sort of off teal, faded teal, whatever. Probably don't want to make the actual base this color. I mean, it's kind of been the color we've been working with, but I don't know. Everything will all look very samey, and it's not a very good house color. The resale value won't be quite so high. They'll want to paint it. So yeah, I'll lay all this out, but we'll probably be changing the paint color to something more enjoyable. That's there. Let's run it out. And basically bring it, yeah, right up to the edge of the base. The current sort of drilling mechanism.
Fuel critical.
Okay, so it's at its height. What's the timer at? Okay, so it only takes about 5 minutes. So we could set the timer to like 10 minutes. And that should be enough time, because I bet you yeah, there's no stone on the base. So I'll extend it again. 10 minutes is much more reasonable than 30, I think. That should be quick enough that we won't be waiting for a decade for this thing to drill. And so far, I mean, it's kind of been doing the same thing 4 or 5 times, but everything looks alright. Doesn't seem to be slamming into the rock before being able to drill it away, which is always ideal. The refinery kind of chews through it instantly, so that's good. What is our... Okay, we're at about 90% power on the battery. Can finish laying out this floor, and then I probably do need to go get ice. But that can wait until next week. So yeah, making progress, fighting a drill. This is the stuff you come for, I'm sure. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. Feel free to check out any of the other stuff I've done, and until next week, bye bye.